Life is full of opportunities, yet many hesitate, held back by fear, doubt, or procrastination. How often have you felt an open door before you, yet hesitated to step through? Perhaps you've sensed a calling, a purpose greater than yourself, but uncertainty kept you from moving forward. Maybe you've wondered, what if I'm not ready? What if I fail? God has a divine plan for each of us, one filled with hope, purpose, and blessings. But His plan requires our participation. In Revelation 3 verses 7-8, God declares that He is the one who holds the keys, opening doors that no one can shut and closing doors that no one can open. When God opens a door, no force on earth can close it. But the question remains, will you walk through it? Many people wait for the perfect moment to act, believing they need to be stronger, wiser, or better prepared before embracing their calling. But God does not call the qualified, He qualifies the called. Think of Moses, hesitant, unsure, yet chosen to lead. Think of Peter, flawed, impulsive, yet entrusted to build the church. Each of them had to take a step of faith before they saw the fulfillment of God's promises. The reality is that fear and hesitation rob us of divine opportunities. We say, maybe later when I feel more ready. But waiting for the perfect time is a deception. Jeremiah 29 verse 11 reminds us that God's plans are for good, to give us a future and a hope. If God has opened a door for you, it is already the right time. Your role is not to question whether you are ready, but to trust in the one who calls you. Perhaps you feel small, unworthy, or incapable. But just like the Church of Philadelphia, which had little power yet remained faithful, you too can step into the opportunities God has prepared for you. Your strength does not come from yourself, but from the Lord. Isaiah 41 verse 10 says, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you." So what is stopping you? Is it fear? Doubt? The comfort of the familiar? The voice of the enemy whispers that you are not enough, but God's truth declares that you are chosen. You were made for this moment, for this purpose, for this divine calling. God is knocking at the door of your heart, inviting you to say yes to His purpose. Will you answer? The choice is yours. Throughout history, God has been the one who opens doors of opportunity, leading His people into places of purpose and blessing. In Revelation 3 verses 7-8, He declares, "These are the words of the Holy One, the True One, who holds the key of David. What He opens, no one can shut, and what He shuts, no one can open." This truth reminds us that God alone is in control of the opportunities set before us. Too often, we believe that success depends solely on our efforts, intelligence, or connections. We think that opportunities come through luck or personal achievement. But Scripture tells us otherwise. God is the one who holds the keys. He is the one who creates opportunities, aligns circumstances, and places us where we need to be. If He has opened a door for you, nothing and no one can close it, except you. However, stepping through God's open doors requires faith. Many times, His opportunities come in unexpected ways that challenge us to trust Him rather than rely on our own understanding. Consider the Church of Philadelphia, to whom this passage was originally written. They were a small, seemingly insignificant church with little power or influence. Yet, God told them, "I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut." God was not looking at their size or their strength. He was looking at their faithfulness. This same principle applies to us today. You may feel inadequate, unqualified, or unequipped for the path God is leading you to, but He does not choose based on human standards. 1 Samuel 16 verse 7 reminds us, "Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." What matters is not how strong you are, but how willing you are to follow Him. Unfortunately, many people fail to recognize when God is opening a door. They hesitate, question, or try to control the outcome. Others let fear convince them that they are not ready. But when God opens a door, it is not for you to question. It is for you to walk through in faith. Delayed obedience is still disobedience. So ask yourself, has God opened a door in your life that you have been afraid to walk through? Have you ignored the opportunities He has placed before you because of self-doubt or fear? God is calling you to step forward in faith, to trust that He has already made the way. He is the one who opens the door. Now it is up to you to walk through it. One of the greatest barriers that keep us from stepping into God's purpose is fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of inadequacy. How many times have you felt a stirring in your heart, a divine prompting to take a step forward only to hesitate? You might think, what if I fail? What if I'm not ready? What if this isn't really from God? Fear has always been one of the enemy's most effective weapons. It keeps believers trapped in cycles of doubt and hesitation. It convinces them that they are not good enough, smart enough, or strong enough to step into what God has for them. But fear is a liar. 2 Timothy 1 verse 7 tells us, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind." If fear is holding you back, know that it is not from God. Another tactic that prevents us from embracing God's plan is procrastination. We tell ourselves, I'll follow God's calling later, when I feel more prepared, when I have more resources, when the timing is better. But delaying obedience is still disobedience. The enemy doesn't need to convince you to reject God's plan outright, he only needs to make you put it off indefinitely. The truth is, God's timing is always perfect. If he has opened a door for you, then now is the right time to step forward. In Jeremiah 29 verse 11, God promises, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a future and a hope." He has already prepared the way, you just need to walk in it. Look at the example of Moses. When God called him to lead the Israelites, his first response was excuses. Who am I to do this? What if they don't believe me? I am not a good speaker. Exodus 3-4. But God did not call Moses because of his abilities, he called him because of his willingness. God does not need your perfection, he needs your obedience. So ask yourself, what is holding you back from saying yes to God's purpose? Are you allowing fear or procrastination to delay his plans for you? Instead of focusing on what could go wrong, focus on the one who is leading you. It's time to stop hesitating. Step forward in faith, because if God called you, he will equip you. Saying yes to God's purpose is not just about believing, it's about acting. Faith without action is incomplete. James 2 verse 26 says, "Faith without works is dead." Many believers acknowledge God's calling but remain stuck in inaction, waiting for more signs, more confirmations, or for the perfect moment to move forward. But faith requires movement. It requires stepping into the unknown, trusting that God will provide along the way. Think about Peter when he saw Jesus walking on water. In Matthew 14 verses 28-29, he said, "Lord, if it's you, tell me to come to you on the water." Jesus simply answered, "Come." Peter had a choice. He could stay in the safety of the boat, or he could take a step of faith. When he chose to step out, something miraculous happened. He walked on water. But what if Peter had waited? What if he had overanalyzed, hesitated, or let fear keep him in the boat? He would have missed the miracle. Many times we are in the same position. We feel God calling us into something greater, but we hesitate. We worry about the what-ifs. We want to see everything before we take the first step. But God does not show us the entire journey, he simply says, "Come." Look at Abraham. In Genesis 12, God told him to leave his homeland and go to a place that he would later reveal. Abraham had no map, no details, no guarantees, only a promise. And yet he went. His faith was counted as righteousness, not because he merely believed, but because he obeyed. Faith is not about having all the answers, it's about trusting the one who does. It's about moving forward before the details are clear, knowing that if God called you, he will provide. Philippians 1 verse 6 reassures us, "He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus." So what step is God calling you to take today? Is it starting a ministry? Changing careers? Speaking up in faith? Serving in a new way? Whatever it is, delayed obedience is still disobedience. God has already opened the door. Now it's your turn to walk through it. Every day we are given opportunities to say yes to God's purpose. Some are small steps, helping someone in need, praying for a friend, or sharing our testimony. Others are life-changing, starting a new ministry, stepping into leadership, or making a bold decision in faith. No matter the size of the calling, our response determines our growth. Jesus reminds us in Revelation 3 verse 20, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and dine with him and he with me." God is always calling, always inviting, always opening doors. But he will not force us to walk through them. We must make the choice to step forward. Many people wait for perfect conditions before they obey. They want to feel ready, have enough money, gain more confidence, or see a clear path before they move. But faith doesn't work that way. Faith is trusting before you see the outcome. If you wait until everything is perfect, you will never start. Ecclesiastes 11 verse 4 warns us, "Whoever watches the wind will not plant, whoever looks at the clouds will not reap." The enemy wants you to delay. He wants you to believe that you are not good enough, that you are unprepared, that it's too risky. But if God called you, He has already prepared the way. He doesn't call the equipped, He equips the called. Isaiah 41 verse 10 reassures us, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Think of all the blessings you might miss if you keep waiting. Think of the lives that could be changed through your obedience. Think of how different your life could be if you simply said, "Yes, Lord, I trust you." So today, make a decision. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop letting fear hold you back. Stop hesitating on what God has already confirmed in your heart. God is calling you. He is opening a door for you. Will you walk through it? Say yes to God today and watch how He transforms your life. The time is now.